Let's talk about Iran, shall we? Let's go ahead and start with this. We have got President Trump threatening to bomb Iran. Let's take a listen.
He said, and I quote, "If they don't make a deal, there will be bombing. It will be bombing the likes of which they have never seen before."
If they don't make a deal, we're going to bomb them. Okay, well, bad news for everybody, because let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Things continue to go in a very bad direction here. Donald Trump yesterday tweeting, or truthing, I guess is how he says it. The Iran-backed Houthi terrorists have been decimated by the relentless strikes over the past 2 weeks. Not true. Many of their fighters and leaders are no longer with us. We hit them every day and night, harder and harder. Their capabilities to threaten shipping in the region are rapidly being destroyed. Our attacks will continue until they are no longer a threat to freedom of navigation. The choice for the Houthis is clear. Stop shooting at U.S. ships and we will stop shooting at you. Otherwise, we have only just begun, and the real pain is yet to come for both the Houthis and their sponsors in Iran. So remember that that little signal chat debate, all of that, or that little signal chat debate, that preceded the first of what has now been a week or so of strikes. The attacks from the Houthis have not stopped literally at all. There does not appear to be any end game. Trump said that he would hold Iran responsible. Now, I mean, he's basically, as I think we said that here at the time, now you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you issued the threat.
Right.
You said you will pay for this, and they didn't stop at all. As we also have tried to talk about here is what? They don't have nearly the amount of control that we in the press or whatever, and that America seems to believe that these people do. It's ridiculous. That
you mean Iran vis-a-vis
yes,
Houthis?
like what?
Yeah.
Do they provide them some weaponry and a little bit of support? Yeah, they've also been an independent-ish type organization fighting against the Saudis, and all them for more than a decade.
Yeah, they have their own capability.
Think about these people survived literal bombing, starvation. Like, you think that these missiles are, miraculously can just solve the problem like this? There's like a theory that, the Biden administration didn't bomb them enough, despite looking at the statistics. If bomb could have solved this, the Saudis would have solved it, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not good, because you're setting us up for confrontation. And as he said at the original, he said that we will bomb Iran if they don't make a deal. Well, guess what? They said, yeah, we don't really want to talk to you right now.
Yeah, that was the argument that was basically made in the Signal chat, if I'm remembering correctly, of like, oh, well, the Biden administration, they just let them get away with it, completely ignoring the way that the Biden administration pursued, like, basically the same strategy. And now, I mean, we already see the results. Like, they've been bombing them in whatever more aggressive way and leveling apartment buildings and whatever. And has it worked? No, of course not. Could put D3 up on the screen in terms of Iran's response. So NBC News says Trump's threat to bomb Iran would spark retaliation, according to their supreme leader. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said Monday the U.S. would receive a strong blow if it acts on Trump's threat to bomb Tehran unless it reaches a new nuclear deal with Washington. Trump reiterated his threat on Sunday. That's what we were talking about. And supreme leader says the enmity from the U.S. and Israel has always been there. They threaten to attack us, which we don't think is very probable. But if they commit any mischief, they will surely receive a strong reciprocal blow. And if they are thinking of causing sedition inside the country, as in past years, the Iranian people themselves will deal with them. Speaking to, some of the theoretical stirring up of domestic unrest within Iran that they believe that we are guilty of. Maybe we are. I don't really know for sure.
Well,
but
this is the problem, is that we have set ourselves up now for potential confrontation, where the president has spoken out and said if we don't make a deal, then we're going to have bombs. Now, we also have an idiot national security advisor who continues to be in his job, who constantly is advocating for bombing Iran, and is somebody who we saw in the chat who's a brain-dead moron talking about freedom of navigation, who obviously is trying to set us up for some sort of future military confrontation and, quote, holding them responsible, as Trump has said. So at a certain point, we have to take Trump and them seriously. And you are in a tight time frame. You have the Gaza stuff, you have the Gaza war, which is popping off. Things are only going to get worse if we see mass expulsion, which we talked about previously. Then you add on top of that with the Iran section, and you look at all of the people in the administration at the White House, like Mike Waltz, Marco Rubio, and others, who have have talked a big game about bombing Iran. And what else can you conclude? And you see here from the Iranian response where they have their own domestic political situation. Us pulling out of the deal burned them at a domestic political level and made it much more difficult for any Iranian leader to try and pursue that in terms of their own internal politics. So you really have two things coming here. I guess all you can hope for is that we're all bluffing, but that's not a good hope. That's not a good bet to make.
I think also what was revealing within the Signal chat is you definitely do not get much sense that there's going to be much pushback on whatever the hawkish direction of the Trump administration was. There was the only voice that raised any concerns at all was J.D. Vance, and he quickly backs down once he realizes there's no one else in this chat that is Jeffrey Goldberg is not coming to bat for me on my side on this one, nor are the people who are leaking to Jeffrey Goldberg going to go to bat against taking any sort of hawkish actions and escalatory actions. Quincy Institute over for Responsible Statecraft over on their blog, which is excellent, by the way. They write really fantastic analyses that are definitely worth reading. We can put this up on the screen. They have been tracking the increasing beating of the war drums. And the headline here is the war over war with Iran has just begun. Trump says he wants a deal, but stakeholders in and outside of his administration are pushing for conflict. The first paragraph here reads, in recent weeks, many of the same neoconservative voices who pushed the U.S. into Iraq are calling for strikes on Iran. Groups like the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and the Washington Institute for Near East Policy are once again promoting confrontation, claiming that there may never be a better time to act, but this is a dangerous illusion that risks derailing what Donald Trump himself says he wants, a deal, not another disastrous war in the Middle East. I think that's a little pretty charitable to Trump, given that he said he wants a deal, but also threatened to bomb them. But, they're trying to write this in a way that would appeal to him and potentially, some of his allies within the administration. But in any case, I thought it was important that they were tracking the way that these influential think tanks within Washington were increasingly pushing towards this confrontation, because as much as we would like those people to be irrelevant, they are not. They have a lot of allies within this administration, within every administration, who are listening to the case and making a similar case internally.
Well, what I like about this Quincy Institute article is that it points out the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, the Washington Near Institute for Peace, and the op-ed war that's currently happening in the Wall Street Journal and elsewhere to shape a media environment. What people need to understand here, too, is, when we previously had talked about the Jewish Insider publication and a lot of the war against these America First more appointees, people who are more restrainers. Do you know why they do that? It's all about shaping the environment to make it so that those people are uncomfortable in their meetings, or that people can use it as an excuse to silence them, or even, if their names are mentioned in a policy document, to begin to attack, and then to create this alternative ecosystem in the Journal and on Twitter, Barry Weiss and all these other folks who can just gin up the impression for a lot of these people that the public is actually on their side. So look, right now, are we going to war with Iran? Let's really hope not. But the point is that the ground is laid for something to pop off, is that Trump has now made several decisions, and the people around him are obviously advocating for this. There are off-ramps. Steve Witkoff, send Steve over there. Send him to Iran. He made some comments in this Trump Tucker Carlson interview, apparently, which were noticed by the Iranians, and they might be willing to talk with them. But watch how Steve got sidelined by the Israelis. They attacked the shit out of him. The reason why this ceasefire fell apart, I believe, is because they were successfully able to sideline Witkoff and Adam Entous. Same with a lot of the other voices in Washington. Remember the guy who said, we're not a client state of Israel. He's been, he's with the... He's
disappeared.
He's down in that ICE facility in Louisiana, okay? I wouldn't want to be him for the rest of my life. No, it's not funny, but it is there's something to it, right? He hasn't been on television since. And you are watching, as those people, and the war on that is successful, and then the administration voices and all these other people, the more there's no accountability for folks like Mike Waltz, it's very easy to see many of the mistakes of the first term get repeated, and then you're never coming back from that.
Well, and most of these people internally, they're strivers. They want to stay in good standing, and they see the way that dude, Adam Bowler, is that his name?
That's Bowler,
was disappeared, and the way Steve Witkoff was sidelined. So they're watching, they're reading the tea leaves of, who's able to sustain their position, and Mike Waltz, with this giant fuck up, still gets to stay in place.
I know.
So they're reading all of those tea leaves. Just last thing in this block, because it's just too good, can't resist. So you guys know there's a number of special elections today. There's the Wisconsin Supreme Court one.
Yes.
Ryan and Emily will have full coverage of what happens in this. And then there's these 2 Florida special elections, one to fill Matt Gaetz' seat, which looks like that's a done deal for the Republicans. I don't see any nervousness around that one. But the other one to fill Mike Waltz's seat has had a little more intrigue. You want to set this up, Saagar,
yes,
of this gentleman who is looking to replace Mike Waltz on the Republican side in a plus 30 Trump district, and now this race is apparently close. I still think the Republican is very likely to win here, let's be clear, but the fact that there's nervousness about this at all is totally insane.
Let's go ahead and put it up there on the screen. Senator Randy Fine, he is a state senator there. Some of you may know that name if you spend any time online. Guys, go ahead and put D5, please, up on the screen, just so people can take a look. So here, Trump says, America First Patriot Randy Fine is running to represent the wonderful people of Florida's 6th Congressional District. Highly successful, blah, blah, blah. He has my complete total endorsement. Now, let's look at some past statements from Mr. Fine. Quote, "It's time for Israel to destroy Iran." This was on October 1st of 2024.
Hashtag bombs away.
Bombs away. Go to the next one so you guys can see. Here he is. He put this out. He's not even ashamed. This is a photo of him in his office where he has the Israeli flag prominently next to the American flag. I would note, actually, that the Israeli flag is actually in a more prominent position in the picture than the American flag. And then second,
America First Patriot.
There's somebody who says, you should be ashamed of yourself. How do you sleep at night? With a photo of a dead baby in Gaza, to which he replies, quite well, actually. Thanks for the pic. So that's who we're dealing with. That's who is Mr. America First Patriot, and gets to some of our debate earlier about the whole anti-Semitism task force and how this term has become effectively meaningless in the Trump administration. There's major war, obviously, online. There's a lot of influencers who are willing to call him out, but let's be honest. I mean, Trump has endorsed this guy, and just the other day, he endorsed Lindsey Graham. This is the reality of who we're dealing with here.
There's no ideological consistency. It's just about who, he thinks is going to be the most loyal soldier. Right. And so, yeah, Randy Fine is America First Patriot, even as he's, got his Israeli flag front and center, and is monstrously, totally comfortable with babies being killed in Gaza. So there you go.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.